Russian culture's uniqueness has been described by one of the great Russian critics of the past century, 20th century, as a culture of explosions. And indeed, the history of Russia, I think, can be understood through their successive, almost explosive creativity that developed out of art forms in each of the great periods of Russian history.
I first met Ambassador Kislyak almost 3 years ago when I asked him to host the opera ball for the Washington National Opera. The ambassador and I discussed his vision of enhancing greater cultural relations between Russians and Americans, particularly among younger generations. It has been a privilege to work with the ambassador and with American University to help make this vision a reality.
I'm a history student at American University with Professor Moore and Professor Fedyashin. I'm interested in going to grad school for Russian history, so I was interested in starting at the initiative so I could meet new people and start learning more about Russian culture and Russian language.
It's a very particular moment for us because we have been discussing the idea of creating a channel of, or rather a vehicle for the students and the younger generation of Americans to learn more about Russia, about what it is and what it is not. And maybe the best way to do it is through the eyes of the Russians themselves.
This is, simply put, a vitally important mission with a direct impact on the national security of the United States. We're all accustomed to speak of that special relationship that exists between Great Britain and the United States. But I would argue that the relationship between the United States and Russia is of greater global significance than that of any other two nations on Earth.
What we are trying to do with the IRC is to expose American students to Russia as a cultural superpower, which is a status that it earned long before the Cold War began and that it actually retains to this day.
It's nice to be able to meet students within the consortium as well. We have a pretty small history department at American, so it's nice to be able to meet more people who are interested in the same sorts of things.
I would like to thank the management of American University and the Russian Embassy for the excellent arrangements made for this important, interesting, and in my opinion, highly well-timed initiative.
We are very grateful to the American University and for those who are supporting this initiative, because they not only give a chance for the students to learn more about Russia, they also provide guidance as to how to learn history about Russia and how to put it in a proper context.
We have students from George Mason University. We have students from George Washington University. We have students from Georgetown University. We have students from the University of Maryland at College Park. We have students from the University of Maryland at Baltimore County. We have students from American University.
To see so many young faces here in this audience, that means that the initiative strike a proper tone if it generates interest among the younger generation of Americans. That's all this initiative is about. So the programs like the one that is launched today by American University is one of the wonderful opportunities for the youngsters to get a better understanding of the other country, to make their own judgment, and most probably to make new friends in a country that is very much similar to what is America, in some respects very different.
How Russia and the United States interact, how we understand each other, and more importantly, how we avoid misunderstanding each other, is a subject of existential interest, not just to our own people, but to all the peoples of the world. Russia and the United States have a global obligation to manage our relations in the most responsible manner possible.
The new initiative allows us to ensure that the great contributions of Russian literature, film, and the arts will be a part of the broad liberal arts education of all of our students, something that can no longer be taken for granted in higher education in the United States.
It has been spectacularly successful. It has been wildly more successful than anyone who was ever involved in the beginning ever could have thought. Initiative has legs, and it's a real pleasure to be involved with it.
The mighty American culture, the mighty Russian culture are absolutely, I think, destined to go on like this.
I have no doubt that once a larger number of Americans have experienced Russia for themselves, their new understanding with the Russian compatriots will help dissolve old prejudices. A new, compassionate form of global warming will ensue, and the Cold War's lingering frost will melt away forever.
This was just a teaser of many more things that we have to come. The richness and versatility of Russian culture comes from the fact that it draws from the royal palace, the aristocratic salon, the village hut, and peasant folklore, and everything in between. And we will do our absolute best this fall, next spring, and in the coming years to bring you the ravishing music of the concert hall and the opera house, the pounding rhythm of jazz, unforgettable sounds of the balalaika, combined with film, theater performances, art shows, and of course, academic conferences.